What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys are the patch notes for version 0.18. This is the 6 item plus new game mode plus Aurora patch. This is the biggest patch that Predecessor's ever seen, and we're going to jump right into it for that reason. This is a huge patch. I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm going to be going through trying to explain the things that I know. I do have a little bit of insider info just because we got to play the patch a little early. The creators did, so that was pretty cool, but we'll jump into this. Basically, so Aurora's here. They do have the ability overview. I'm not going to watch it right now just because, again, this video is already going to be really long. Basically, her passive is an ice storm. When you hit enemies or monsters, so this works in the jungle, 4 times, then you get a little ice storm around you. It does damage based on your magical power and the enemy's maximum HP. On top of that, she does have, essentially, her statue is on her passive. You can double jump, and it makes the statue. It draws tower aggro. It has an HP bar. It does not do at least some of the things that it did in Paragon. Like, it doesn't take gadget hats off of you or something like that. It will, I'm assuming gadget hats lock onto it. I don't know. It's a little funky. We'll have to test exactly how it works, but I couldn't tell you every in and out. Her Q is a dash. Of course, it's her wall. You can go up with it. You can go sideways. You can, like, double jump, dash, and make a giant wall, stuff like that. You know, it's a pretty neat ability. And then her E is her little ring. If she makes a ring, anyone who touches it takes damage, gets rooted. Her right click is a little cone in front of her. She, like, shoots this out. It does damage when it goes out and slows, and then after, like, 1 second, it explodes and does more damage and slows again. So this is kind of like her main wave clear ability. Pretty neat. And then her ultimate. This is a very odd ability. It's her Paragon ultimate, but it's still a little weird to me. She basically freezes everyone in an area. After a second and a half, the ice freezes. It stuns everybody, and then they explode. And if people get hit by the explosion, they take damage and get slowed again. And it kind of just like throughout a team fight, it'll kind of hit a whole bunch of people. So kind of neat. All right, store. Skins, Quantum Bellica. I played some games, 1, maybe 2 games with this skin on the testing server. It's pretty cool. I will warn you, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about prices. It's pretty expensive. Odyssey Howitzer. This skin is good. There's a pack that has a special recall in it that's actually pretty cool. Ascended Xeris. This is a decent skin. Aurora has her. This isn't a recolor. This is a little bit of a, like, she's got a little thingy on her head. Pretty cool. Yeah, so here's one of the bundles. This is for the Bellica bundle. It has a couple of recolors of the skin in it. It's got, like, a really cool, it's actually got a pretty good spray. And then it also just has, like, jump pad and recall effects, which I think is actually kind of cool. Yeah, here's the Howitzer bundle. Again, has a recall effect that's actually pretty neat. This bundle, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. Because so right, the Sparrow, Narbash, and Faye skins were exclusive for the Xeris season, right? Like season 2. And they're letting everyone buy them, which is like whatever, but also it just makes it literally not exclusive anymore, which I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. You guys can let me know if those feelings are super unfounded in the comments down below. I don't know how to feel about this because it's like, well, I kind of thought these were exclusive, but now they're just giving them away. I don't mind if they make more of them so that people can buy them now. But like the 3 that they gave out in season 2, I don't know. I kind of feel like you had to be there. Aurora bundle. So Brawl mode. We're kind of going to skip through this. I uploaded some gameplay of this yesterday, so you guys can go check that out if you want. It's Smite Arena mode, like almost 1-for-1 outside of like Orb Prime spawning. It's just Smite Arena mode. A couple of buffs on the map. You kill minions to get rid of your enemy's tickets. If you put your minions through the enemy portal, they lose tickets. Kills lose them tickets. Right? It's a fun mode. They're like 10-minute long games. It's a decently fun mode. Audio improvements. There's a whole lot of audio that changes in this patch. Like everything almost is just changing in this patch. I'm not going to go through every single change right now, but just know that when you load into a game, the audio will probably sound different for the hero you're playing. Performance improvements. Let's see. Okay, The game should run better. It's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Let's see. Matchmaking. An edge case in our matchmaking affecting players frequently partying up with friends that are naturally a much higher or lower MMR. Interesting. Well, I don't know if this will fix my games. My matchmaking for like the last 2 weeks has been really, really bad. I don't know if this will fix my games, but hopefully this helps. I mean, we'll see. Let's see. Condensing everyone's MMR proportionally closer to the internal average of 1,000. So this is like a soft reset? Okay. Interesting. There you go. So this is like a soft reset on MMR. So hopefully it makes the games a little better. Balance changes. All right, so this is obviously the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. 6 items is the main thing balance-wise that's going to happen. There are some sweeping changes as well, but this is like the main thing. The overall goal with the addition is to have the match-to-match experience remain recognizable. Of course, like you don't want to change the main game. But now there's going to be 6 items in the game. A lot of items got stat changes. There are a lot of new like tier 2 building items, stuff like that are coming into the game. Quite a few items got removed as well, so just keep that in mind. Let's see. All right, so 6 item slot is in the game. And just so you guys know, yes, you do get more gold, stuff like that. So you will hopefully be able to buy your 6 items. Summary of overall balance changes. All right, so we'll kind of go through these. Gold increased by 15%. XP, well, okay, so XP is decreased to reach level 18 by 10%. So, it's increased a little bit. Modifiers adjusted for shutdowns. Hero base stats adjusted. Damage scaling is adjusted. Again, this is kind of just like, you got to change a lot of stuff when you're adding a whole new item slot into the game. These are all fine. Carry or like crit items go to 20%. Like that makes sense. Critical strike damage is decreased by 10%, which I did not know. That's actually pretty neat. Let's see. Yeah, 50 items heavily adjusted. Right. A couple of items get removed. Phoenix got removed. It got replaced with an item called Judgment, which if you guys are League players, it is Gore Drinker. It's fine. No, I mean, Phoenix stinks, so who cares? A bunch of these get removed, like Requiem gets removed, Wellspring, Tech Mallet, Bone Seeker, Viper, Breach all get removed. Some of their tier 2s get removed. Most of these are fine. Tech Mallet is the only one that Tech Mallet and Wellspring, I guess, are the 2 out of these that were like actually really strong items. So there you go. Faster gold gain. Yep. Faster XP. Yep. Hero rebalance. So basically, they made everyone like a little bit tankier. That's kind of how this goes. Again, this is so for all heroes on average. This is roughly for all heroes. 25% more health. Physical armor is lower. Magical armor is lower. Health regen is higher. Physical power is higher. Attack speed is higher. Damage on rank 1 abilities is higher. Right? Like they gave you more health, less armor, and then they increased like base damage, I guess. Item rebalance, of course, every item is getting changed. We're just gonna go through these. Sorry, I'm trying to get into this as fast as we can. New items. So Judgment, this is the one I was talking about. This is the replacement for Phoenix. Has power, health, Omnivamp on it. So now there is an Omnivamp physical crest that is not like your only other option was Witch Stalker or like Typhoon, but you can't go Typhoon. Anyway, this is Gore Drinker. So you release a shockwave around you, and it does damage and it heals you based on your missing health and your power. If you hit multiple people, the heal is less effective. It's really, really good. The cooldown on this, it doesn't say in here, the cooldown on this is really low. So it's going to be a really good like 1v1 crest in solo lane. Tier 1, there's a new ability haste tier 1. I'm not really going to go over the tier 2s too much. These all just build into new stuff. Here we go. New items. Equinox. This is a crit item, power, crit, attack speed. So critical strikes deal 6% bonus true damage. So when you hit someone with a crit, it does extra damage, and that extra damage is true damage. Seems pretty straightforward. And then if you fall below 40% HP, you get a shield based on your level. It's fine. I think this, I mean, it seems like a decent item. It has really low power on it, which is just one thing to keep in mind. Lots of attack speed. But the other thing, again, because you're getting 6 items, you buy one other like big power item, you're kind of good to go, right? Like, who knows? I'm not really going to like tell you which of these items are good or bad. I didn't play with all of them, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of testing going on this week. So just keep that in mind, right? Nuclear rounds. Your abilities deal more damage based on how much crit chance you have. So this one's actually kind of interesting. So it's a power, attack speed, mana, and a crit item, but it makes your abilities hit harder. So this could be, you know, I don't know exactly who you're buying this on. Revenant, maybe. Honestly, you could buy this on like Twin Blast even if you're splashing like a crit item or two on a Twin Blast build. Like if you're going demo already, right? Like maybe you just toss in a nuclear rounds and get 8% extra damage on your abilities. I don't know. Decent amount of power on it, so it's not like you're losing a whole lot there. Who knows? Plasma Blade. This item is physical power and magical power with attack speed on it. And then basic attacks against heroes give you crit chance for 3 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So you could theoretically get 40% crit chance off of this item. That'd be a lot. I don't think you're really going to have that happen. Pretty low power item, though. Lots of attack speed. Maybe you can do this on like a Shinbi Typhoon build. Maybe that'd be fun. I don't know. We'll kind of just have to see where this one goes, because it's a neat item. I just don't know where you'd build it. Assassin items, Penumbra. All right, this is one that I will tell you it just straight up is broken. This item is insane, dude. It has power, HP. First of all, this is HP, not mana. Wow. Pen and 20 ability haste, right? Remember that patch like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when they took 20 ability haste off of a lot of items and made them 15? Yeah, so this is 20. And then on takedown is kill or assist. Reduce your non-ultimate cooldowns by 4 seconds. This item is nuts on Feng Mao. Like, this is just essentially, we'll get to Omen in a little bit, but this is essentially replacing Omen. Really, really good item. Tainted Trident. So this is an assassin tainted item. So power, pen, haste, and then on dealing damage, you reduce their healing, of course. Your abilities deal extra true damage, again, true damage, to enemies who are anti-healed. So that is pretty good. I think this item is quite good. Again, it's 8 pen as well, so you're not really losing anything there. Base stats are good, has anti-heal. You get a bonus for anti-healing people. I think this item's pretty solid. It's not OP like Penumbra is, but I think it's pretty solid. Fighter. So Earthshaker. This is a power attack speed item, and it's when you deal damage to a hero or a monster, so like, you know, or prime or whatever, you increase your ability damage dealt by 1%, stacking up to 15 times, and then melee heroes gain stacks twice as fast. So, like, a hero like Sereth can just, like, walk up, you know, Q, get a bunch of stacks, and then your right-click hits 5% harder, right? It's stuff like that. I think that this item would be decent. The base stats on it are actually really good for, like, a bruiser. Attack speed on like, tanky heroes is really, really valuable, because of the way that like physical power scales. Your autos are going to hit hard even if you are building full defense, right? And so gaining attack speed gives you more autos, gives you a lot more damage. I think this might be good on, you know, maybe not Grux, but like Sereth solo, stuff like that. Even Xeris could honestly run something like this. Neat item. Gaia Greaves. So this is an HP, armor, haste, tenacity item, right? No damage on this. But so basically, when you move, you gain stacks, and each stack makes you faster. Up to 100 stacks, of course, and then you are fast. You just run faster. And then after this, your next basic attack expends all stacks, dealing bonus damage. You know, you move, you go faster while you move. Your next auto expends your fastness and does bonus damage. On top of this, you do lose stacks if you are slowed or immobilized, so just keep that in mind. And then the other one on this is just your jump height is increased. So you can jump from like the river up through fog walls and mid, stuff like that. It is a noticeable jump height difference. Mist Meadow Buckler. This one's interesting. This is like a power magic armor item. This is kind of the replacement for Tectonic Mallet. It has Omnivamp on it, though. So basically, you gain charges, 5 charges per second, while at 100, you gain 15 bonus magic armor. So full stacks, this is 40 power, 45 magic armor, and 5% Omnivamp. But upon receiving magic damage, you consume charges. You eat your up to your 100 of your charges, right? And reduce the damage taken based on how many charges you consume. Each charge that it eats blocks 1 damage, and it can block up to 50%. So if you take 200 damage from an ability, this will eat 100 of it, and you'll take 100. If you eat 500, this will eat 100 of it, and you'll take 400. Right, so it is not nothing. I don't know exactly how good it'll be. This is one that I did not test, so I don't know. Mage items. There are some cool ones in here. So Noxia, this is, first of all, 85 power, 20 haste is pretty good base stats. Second of all, this is just old Megacosm, where when you hit someone with an ability, it would... so this doesn't have the initial burn on it, right? But when you hit someone with an ability, it marks them. If you hit them again, you deal 5% of their maximum health as a damage, which is, again, what old Megacosm used to do, right? If you hit someone with 2 abilities, it would burst it and do more damage. It's essentially what this is. I think this item probably will be pretty good, just based off of the fact that it has, again, a tank-killing passive, which is valuable on mages, and you have really good base stats, right? 85 power, 20 haste, very competitive base stats. Not super expensive either. I think it'll probably be decent. Soulbinder. I actually really like this item. I'm not going to lie. So power, mana, haste, and then deal 8% additional true damage to enemy heroes that are at least 1,500 units away. Whenever you proc this 8% additional true damage, you gain 1 power permanently. You permanently gain 1 magic power. This item, it definitely is not on every mage that you're running this, because you have to be able to at least mostly reliably proc this, because I think if you're not building stacks, I don't think it's super worth it. But once you get some stacks online, I do think that this is just, I mean, it's essentially Obelisk, is essentially what this is. It's 12-second cooldown on Obelisk. Howitzer is really good with this. Argus is really good with this. Gadget, I would imagine you could run with this pretty easily. Like Gideon, Bellica do not work as well with this item, so I don't know. Like, you can proc it on them, but it's much less reliable. So we'll see. We'll see exactly how this item goes, but this was a fun one to play with. I played a couple of Argus games with this item, and it was pretty fun. All right, Cresselia. These are support items. This is a spell blade for supports. So yeah, power, regen, haste. When you use an ability, your next auto attack does bonus damage, and it reduces your current non-ultimate cooldown, so your basic cooldowns, by 15%. So this isn't like Omen, right? Not quite, but it is actually pretty good. On a character like Muriel, primarily is the one that I've seen this run on. Pretty good, just to get more shields. You're always proccing this. Might as well get some extra cooldown out of it. Base stats are good for a character like Muriel, so yeah, I think this is going to be a good item. Dawnstar. So this is health, regen, armor, haste, right? So this is, again, support items. Your basic attacks reduce enemy heroes' damage dealt by 2% up to 5 times. Melee basics apply 2 stacks. So you can reduce someone's damage dealt by 10%. And then on immobilizing a hero, so hitting a hard CC, you gain 20% attack speed for a couple seconds. I think this could be good on, like, Steel. Maybe Richter, but I think mostly Steel. I'm not sure. Like, the issue is, like, it is a really cheap item. Yes, it does have, like, lower base stats, but because it's cheap, that's kind of okay. Is 10% enough? I don't know. It depends on who you're hitting. I'm not sold on it, but I also haven't tried it yet. Who knows? Everbloom. Heal and shield power. Your heals and shields grant yourself and allies damage mitigation for 2 seconds. I think this item's really good, actually. I think just being able to beat Muriel and give your team 5% damage mitigation and 15% tenacity, which 15% tenacity is not a crazy amount, but when a lot of people have 0, right, your mage and your carry generally will have 0. I think this item will be decent. I don't think it might not be OP. I think it'll be decent. And then Lunaria, this is another heal and shield power item. So basically, you gain charges equal to damage dealt to heroes. And there is a max on this. I don't know exactly how it works, but on healing or shielding an ally, you consume all the charges from your damage that you've dealt, and you heal them for a additional amount based on charges consumed. It's kind of the replacement Wellspring. It's Wellspring, except you can't just permanently proc this out of combat, right? You have to be hitting people to be able to get the healing. I think it'll still be okay. I don't think Wellspring has always kind of been a broken item. Like, that item has been nerfed 20 times since the game came out. So I'm not sure. I think it'll be okay. It's not going to be Wellspring. Tank item. So Fist of Razul. This is a tank item. So HP, armor, haste. This basically is the like hope of them trying to get you to not build Fire Blossom every game. So this has Minion Crusher on it. Deal 30% more damage to minions. I think this is them trying to make it so that tanks aren't forced to build Fire Blossom. Honestly, I'm just going to build Fire Blossom anyway. It's way cheaper than this. It has better base stats on it, right? Like, it's one of those things. I don't know. This has haste on it, I guess, is maybe one reason you'd go for it. Anyway, the main passive on it is that when you deal or receive damage, you start gaining stacks of might every 1 second, and then at 5 stacks. So keep in mind, you can't punch someone one time and get 5 stacks. You have to either hit or get hit for essentially for 5 seconds. And then once you get 5 stacks, your next auto does damage based on your maximum health, and it's doubled against enemy heroes, and you heal for half of the damage dealt. I think it's a solid item. I think this is really good in 1v1s, like in offlane, like, you know, if you're Steel or something like that. In a 1v1, I think this item is pretty good. In team fights, it's a little bit harder to use, but it's also just like extra damage, right? Like, that's the way that you have to think about it, is like, oh, I might not always get my fist auto on the guy that I want it on, but at the same time, it's extra damage and it heals me. So, like, who cares, right? I'm getting it anyway. Let's see. Bug fixes. There's a bunch of bug fixes in here. Oh, that's it. I thought they were gonna keep going. Okay. I thought there was more. I was expecting hero changes. There aren't any hero changes in here. Well, I guess there were the sweeping stat changes, right? Like, where are they? Like right here, right? There's sweeping stat changes for a lot of heroes, but I guess they're not. They're just seeing how 6 items work without rebalancing all the game. So that's all the items. That's the new patch. Let me know if you guys have questions. I was expecting that to be. I was expecting there to be more to that. All right, after I recorded the first part, I actually had it brought to my attention from a friend of mine that there was a second part of the patch notes that went over the other stuff that was mostly the stuff that's in the game that's changing, like hero changes and changes to current items, and I didn't know it existed. I didn't see the link. It was in the last patch notes. I just completely skipped over it. So there is a second half to this. Hope you guys got your second wind as we go over this. There's a lot of this that I'm kind of going to skip over because it's just like small stuff that kind of doesn't really affect a whole lot. It's like, you know, towers, how much gold you get, stuff like that. So a lot of this is kind of just going to keep going. So let's see. Changes, jungle changes. Jungle monsters increased, basically. Very cool. Camp leaders is basically like the biggest monster in a camp. So changing those. Let's see. Okay, they didn't change hunt damage. That's all that really matters. They did increase the amount of burn damage that it does. All right. Let's see. So again, I'm just kind of gonna skip over this. A lot of this is stuff that, like, reading it in a patch note you're not gonna get any info out of this. Because that's just not how it works. Like, these are changes that you kind of got to feel. Most of these are kind of, you know, you're not really going to be able to understand what a number means when they change it on fucking Gray Camp, right? Like, who knows? Moving on, heroes. So again, we went over this a little earlier with, like, heroes basically scaling a little differently. A lot of, like, everyone gets more HP, stuff like that. A lot of these are just going to be numbers changes. I'm kind of going to just pass over this on every hero. We'll just go to what they actually changed in their kits. The primary thing here is that a lot of base numbers are going up and a lot of scaling numbers are going down. Generally speaking, what is getting changed. His passive, so like scaling decreased, right? Like that kind of thing. Base damage up, scaling decreased, base damage up, scaling decreased. This is going to be pretty standard among most of this, right? So like his ultimate though, base damage up, no scaling decrease, right? Like so that you have stuff like that. So for the most part, this is going to be pretty standard. We're kind of just going to breeze through these. There are a couple that I know that actually are kind of big changes, so we'll get to those when we do. Countess Q does less damage to minions. Again, scaling down, base damage up is the main thing you're going to see here. Or ult, same thing. Crunch. Cross Crunch is passive. Scaling increased, actually. Interesting. Okay. I see you. Let's see. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Right. A lot of this is going to be kind of the same. I'm just going to try and get through these. Let's see. Damage. Yeah. Damage up, scaling down. Mana cost decreased. Very cool. Stasis Bomb. Just damage buff all around. Ultimate damage buff. Drongo passive nerf. His autos get 5% scaling. Okay. Drongo's autos hitting harder. I see. Let's see. Rad rounds. Damage decreased. Boomerang. Damage increased, actually, across everything. Okay. Shrapnel cannon. Damage. Again. Base damage increased. Scaling decreased. Is this in the patch notes? Fangmao felt a lot slower to me when I was playing him, and I don't know if that's just because of the way that like the game mode was working or not, but it did feel a little slower. Execute, oh my god. Wait. I know that everyone has more health, but this is nuts, right? Execute threshold increased by almost 100 flat. Physical power scaling increased on the execute, and penetration scaling increased on the execute. That has to be insane, right? That feels crazy to me. Like, I know everyone got more HP, but still, okay. That seems like a huge change. Just kind of scaling through. Again, base damage up, scaling down. Pretty standard among what we're going to see. Base damage on Black Hole goes way up. Let's see, Greystone. Damage way up on his ultimate. Grim. Do they change Grim? This is actually a question I had, because Grim is actually, like, if you talk to a lot of high-level carry players, they actually think Grim is pretty good. I personally haven't seen a lot of success with him, but I might just be bad, right? Like, it could just be me not being good at the character. Cooldown refunded if you die during the channel. That's pretty nice, actually. Damage... Scalings are increased. Base damage decreased. Interesting. They took the opposite route with his ult. Okay. Grux, same changes. Cooldown decreased rank by 1 second. That's actually like a fairly big change. Physical power steal goes up. Okay. All right. Let's see. Again, same changes. I'm not even gonna read this because what does that mean? You know. It's just numbers, right? A lot of these can be kind of hard to, like, actually decipher on what they're going to do, but who knows? Kalari's Dagger will slow more for less long, okay? Bonus monster damage almost doubled is actually kind of crazy. Lots of extra scaling on the ability as well. Kai, passive, this up or down? Up, sick. Kai's passive is a little more effective at healing him. Kira is one of the ones that actually got a change, right? Yeah, got a slight range increase, which is just like quality of life mostly. Correctly deals bonus damage to minions. Fixed a bug where Kira could cleanse her ultimate's self-slow. Interesting. That's actually a weird bug to have in the game. Let's see. Keep going. Bellica, her Q got fixed, right? Yeah, fixed a bug where her Q's hitbox would linger. This is something that I've complained about a lot on Bellica, where if you miss the bell stun and someone walks into it like half a second after you use it, it will knock them up. And it's really, really annoying and just shouldn't be in the game. Looks like they're listing it as a bug fix. I don't know if that was ever intended, but it is good that it will be out of the game. It's a very good thing. Bell ult, same changes. Let's see. I want to get to the new items, because all of these are pretty much going to be the same, of just changing the way that damage numbers work. I want to get to items. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just gonna skip those. If there's something important there, let me know in the comments, and I will go look at it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna kind of skip those. We'll get to items. So crests, getting some changes, right? That's about it. These are all gonna be very similar now. Like there you are, right? These are, did they change these? Are these all the same now? Yeah, they are. That's what I thought. Okay. I thought that was this patch. I wasn't sure. Crests basically have all the same stats now. So you can see Nex, 12 power, 5 pen, 8 haste. Ortis, same thing. 12 power, 5 pen, 8 haste. Right? Even, the Ice Scorn Talons got some Omnivamp on it, right? Like this is to incentivize you to pick a crest based on the passive or the active, of the item, what it does, versus picking a crest just because it has base stats that you want. So this wasn't an issue. This wasn't a crazy issue outside of like maybe Obelisk, which had pen on it, which was a really strong item, or Ice Scorn Talons had 10 ability haste on it, which was also really strong, right? Like a lot of the time you would just pick Ice Scorn because having that 10 haste when you got the item was really, really strong. Even though the item itself was already good, of course, but yeah. So here are some of this, like, now we're getting into actual items, tier 2s, right? Mana taken off of Brimstone. Let's see. What else is in here? I don't really care about the tier 2s. Yeah, show me these. So they changed Ashbringer. It's no longer a stacking item. It's no longer more effective the more you're hitting someone. It's a flat amount per auto, but then it's doubled if you crit somebody. So 0.3 seconds reduced cooldowns. It's 0.6 if you hit a crit on somebody. Kingsbane gets a bit of a rework. So Kingsbane is, instead of healing you now, it does its bonus damage when you hit people, and then the more you hit them, the more damage it does. So it's kind of like this stacking item. I don't know if it will be really, really good on carries. I think it'll be okay. But I think this will be actually pretty good on like bruiser solo laners, where you just want to, because it's kind of this flat damage thing, it doesn't matter if you're building damage, it will give you more damage throughout a fight. So there's that. Lightning Hawk gets a bit of a change. This is going to work like Omen now, where you gain stacks upon moving around the map, and then when you hit someone, it slows them at max stacks. You also do gain stacks, I believe, for autoing people. So it'll be similar, where if you're in a boxing match and you're not moving a lot, you will still be able to get your Lightning Hawk procs, but you'll now be you'll be able to open a fight with Lightning Hawk. So there you go. This is Resolution is basically it's combining Rezo and Mind Razor. So now Resolution has the bonus damage on hit based on your mana, but now it's also the stacking item. So Soul Chalice is going to build into this. And it's, so you stack mana to buy Resolution, which gives you more damage on your autos based on your mana, which kind of makes sense. Like that's probably, I don't know, pretty straightforward. Sky Splitter getting a change to make it more consistent. Instead of like that fourth shot doing extra damage, it's always just going to be 5% of the target's current HP on autos. I think this is okay. It's kind of whatever. Like, it does make it more consistent. It loses that big burst on that fourth auto. I think it's fine. Stormbreaker, this is largely the same. Terminus does get a bit of a change. So for every 10% missing HP, you gain a little extra lifesteal. So it's got that like low health, more lifesteal kind of effect. Same shield, but it now slowly decays instead of all falling off at once. Envy's going to be crazy. So Envy's the same thing. When you dash, leap, or exit camo, your next auto crits. But now, upon critically striking, you silence the target for 1.25 seconds. So before, this would give you bonus damage for 3 seconds after you crit with this, and now it will silence them. So I think it's a pretty good. It's going to be really annoying, but it definitely makes the item a lot better. Infernum. So again, very similar thing. They still, after 4 stacks, you still ignite somebody. The target's maximum HP is part of the burn now, which is really good. And then for each point of bonus armor they receive more damage. So you'll see when we get to Megacosm, this is pretty much the physical version of Megacosm now, even more so than it was. Mind Razor, same thing. It's still a cleave item. It just no longer has the mana stacking on it. Nightfall. Nightfall is actually going to be kind of cool now. So it's still a pen lifesteal item. You still heal for your abilities. But now when you get a killer assist, you get a shield, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like Bloodforge from Smite. Omen. Omen got a pretty big change here, where it's the same thing, move around to generate stacks. Your next auto does bonus damage, and it reduces your current non-ult cooldowns by 20%. So rather than the flat 2 seconds, this is 20% now. Generally speaking, on characters that want to buy Omen, this is worse now. I don't think it's terrible. They did remove 5 haste from the item. So I really do think Penumbra will just take over. Like, Penumbra is just Omen, but better. So I don't know. Maybe you still buy this some games. Again, keep in mind you have 6 item slots now. So some games you might be buying this like 5th or 6th, maybe even. But yeah, it's definitely significantly worse. Augmentation, pretty much the same. Draconum, very similar to what it was. You don't gain power from this anymore. It's just the increased healing, and then, of course, the heal on takedown on killer assist. Mutilator, it's worded a little bit differently, but it does the same thing. It's still your basic attacks deal maximum health damage, and your abilities do extra maximum health damage. It does no longer have the health steal on it. Right now, when you hit someone with a Mutilator, or when you hit someone and you have Mutilator, you take some of their max HP. It's losing that, but the damage on it is actually going up a tiny bit, so it's a trade-off. Astral Catalyst. This is actually like a cool change. So this is now a real, like, a big power item, and then you deal bonus damage to shielded targets. So I think this could be okay. I think it's mostly still going to be like a under-the-radar item. Like, I don't think it's going to be insane, but it's still, I think it'll be okay. Azure Core is now, there's a league item, I don't remember what it is, but it's still the same stacking item, but now when you fall below 40%, you gain a shield based on your maximum mana. So this gives you a little survivability. I think this is actually going to be pretty strong. Caustica, it's very similar to what it was before, just a big magic pen item. It no longer has the mana regen below half mana. Instead, it has some base mana regen on the item, but when enemy heroes are above half health, your magic damage dealt is increased based on how much armor they have. So the more magic defense that your enemies are building, you will do bonus damage to them. So there it really is just the pen item. It's obviously there's really only 1% pen item for mages, but it's better at that, but it's worse at just keeping you full mana the entire game. Lifebinder is now Bancroft's Talon. So every 10% missing HP, you gain power and magic lifesteal. I don't know exactly when this will be good, right? Like, this was mostly good because of the haste that it gave you. They took that away. I'm sure this will probably be good on, like, Shinbi, maybe. Maybe you can run this on Morigesh. I'm not sure. We'll have to test it. Magnify, similar to what it was before, except it now, when you move, it's the same thing as Lightning Hawk. Now you stack this by moving, and then your next auto does a bunch of bonus damage, and it shreds armor by 15%. So I think this will actually be pretty good. Just being able to shred armor like that, like on Shinbi solo lane, stuff like that, you're going to be able to win 1v1s a lot easier than you were before. So just something to keep in mind. Oblivion Crown gets a bit of a change. It no longer has the burst damage on it. That burst damage was moved to this other mage, to the new mage item, the one that has old Megacosm passive that does the burst. Oblivion Crown now is just power increases your power. Doesn't have any bonus effects on it. Orb of Growth. Very similar to what it was before, except it doesn't have ability haste on it anymore. It only is power and HP. It doesn't even stack mana on the evolved version. I really would imagine this makes this item pretty bad, to be completely honest with you. I don't think this will be super good. The haste was kind of what was keeping it together. They removed it. My guess is it's probably not super good anymore. Prophecy, pretty much the same as it was before. You no longer get bonus attack speed based on your ability haste, but they did increase the damage a little bit. This was 20% before, now it's 22. So it'll be as good as it was before, which is not very. Spirit of Amir gets a base stat change. So instead of having 15 haste and a little bit of lifesteal, it now has pen and a little less haste. The passives are largely the same. In the jungle, gain lifesteal. Outside of the jungle, gain power. And then your abilities do more damage to monsters. I think this will still be a fairly niche item. I don't know exactly who I'm buying this on, but it's something that I will have to try out some more. Wraith Leggings gets the movement speed taken off of the passive. It gets a little base move speed on the item. Largely, this is a nerf, I would say, but it does keep the bonus damage, so I think it'll still be okay. Dynamo, fairly similar to what it was before. You gain 20 power. If your magic power is higher than your physical power, gain 35 magic power instead. Basically, this is just a way to make you actually do a little bit of damage when you buy Dynamo first. This is Vanguardian. It got a little bit of a buff. Item's still going to be bad. Just really isn't it. It is a split defense item now, which I think makes it more valuable, but I still don't think it's going to be super awesome. Hexbound Bracers, pretty much the same as it was before. It lost the big haste passive. This used to have like an extra 20 ability haste or whatever on it. Now you take less auto attack damage, and you still restore mana when you take damage. True Silver Bracelet, pretty much the same. I don't know if the numbers are the same, but you get a shield. Like, it makes you CC immune. Wind Collar, pretty much the same. I got a base stat change where like it has move speed on it now and stuff like that, but it's the same. Elefrost, this is pretty much the same. They took the mana regen off of the damage. So before, Elefrost was when you hit someone, deal bonus damage, slow them, and refund mana based on your missing mana. They took that away, but they put a little mana regen on the item. Should be just the same. Should be similar. So this is Brimstone, or Fire Blossom, excuse me. Same damage. Each time a target is damaged, the damage increases. Each time that Heat Wave, which is the burn, damages a target, its damage against them increases. So if you are able to stick on someone, this will start ticking really hard. I think it's fine. Again, I think that because they added the glove, whatever, the Fist of Razul, that makes you do extra minion damage, I think hopefully you'll see Fire Blossom a little less, but I think it's still probably pretty valuable. So I would imagine it sticks around a little bit. Let's see. Any of these other ones, big changes? I don't think so. Yeah, these are all pretty much the same. And then you get into some like tier 1, really small changes. I'm not going to go over all of these because, again, they're pretty small. Like, a lot of these are like items that are in the game that are getting very minor stat changes, right? The only one that I'm mad about, okay, asterisk, the only one I'm mad about is that Demo didn't get nerfed. Demo got 2% pen taken off of it, which is like whatever, but it still has the bonus damage to targets with more health than you, which I think is wild, and that's crazy. So outside of that, I think most of these are fine. A lot of these here that you're looking at here are just crit items that are getting their crit turned down to 20%. That's fine. Again, it's kind of whatever. A lot of these are just very small base stat changes that aren't going to do a whole lot, so I'm just kind of going to skip over these. And I think that's actually the end of it. So now that we're at the official end of the patch notes, I kind of baited you guys last time. My bad. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the patch. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if I missed anything that was big in there. I know that we kind of skipped through a lot of this, but let me know if I missed something that really does matter. Other than that, guys, good luck in the patch tomorrow. Stay tuned. I will be posting everything to try and help you guys figure out the patch. So, as always, guys, I've been Pinzo. This video's donezo. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.